get started on the first project, which I am super excited for. I decided to go with what is probably the easiest of the projects, I hope, just because I don't want to mess it up, and as time goes on, ideally I would get better and then can do the kind of more difficult ones at the end. So I decided to start with this little dress right here, little cat dress. For those who know me, I am obsessed with cats, and I wanted to make this one just for the sake of it, and then threw it in with this project because yay, cats. So I'm gonna start on that one. I went to Value Village last week and got some fabric. I think it's a duvet cover. I don't really know. It was black and I pulled it off a rack. It kind of has these stripes, which I think will work nicely with the dress. At least I hope so, because I don't want to buy new fabric. I'd rather get things secondhand as much as possible. So that's what I'm going to be using for this. For the little other parts of it, I have some orange fabric. I might get some fabric paint, depending if that works or not. And I decided to leave out the kind of tail and whisker aspect because I do want these to be wearable on a regular day as much as possible, and a tail and whiskers aren't exactly conducive to that, so I decided to leave them off to make them more into clothing rather than a costume, and it just makes my life a little bit easier. So I'm going to be filming parts of the drafting because I don't really have a pattern, and everything else just so you can see how I put this together, because there are no directions. The picture says see description on page 24, but it's just a picture from the 1920s, so page 24 was probably lost a long time ago, so kind of have to go based on the image. I think it's going to be doable. It's similar kind of to the pinafore I made that I'm wearing. I think I just have to put a back on it maybe, but we'll see. There's probably going to be a lot of trial and error, so let's have fun. I found this butterick pattern in my sewing stash, so I think I'm going to be using this for the skirt portion of the dress. I think I'm going to go with the skirt number 8. I think it's just about the right length, so that's a good start, and the right amount of swooshiness and floof that I'm looking for in a skirt. So going to start laying that out. I'm just going to iron it out first because it's time consuming as it is, and it takes so long. It is definitely worth it and makes it so much easier and so much more accurate. So I'm gonna get started with that. Is that really the best spot for you to be laying right now? You're not gonna look at your mama? No? You're just gonna pretend you're not doing that? Sounds good, my son. Perfect timing for some of my packages to arrive. Now I can crawl around like the gremlin that I am for this project. So I finished cutting out the pattern pieces. I have a bit of a dilemma now because the skirt is technically designed to have an elastic waist, which I'm not a big fan of. Not that I like putting in zippers, but I think they usually look better. The issue is the seams are kind of not on the side and back, they're kind of diagonally, if that makes any sense. So I'm hoping that I can just kind of move the skirt to the side and put a side zipper in. I really hope that works. I could also put one on the back. I guess I haven't even designed the top yet, but for now I think I might just sew together the sides of the skirt and then I can seam rip the spot where the zipper will be once I figure that out, or just cut into the back of it, which is probably what I'll end up doing. I'm not really sure. Alright, so I'm just gonna get started on the next step. I'm just going to fold all the edges in on themselves to make the seams. You definitely can't see that. Ooh, black fabric, it's like a black hole. Just kind of disappear, but I'll switch the camera so you can just kind of watch what I'm doing. I'm just folding them in on themselves, very small, just so that it doesn't fray over time. It kind of is a time-consuming process. I usually like felling them together by hand afterwards, but I'm trying to get 4 things done in a month, so I figure I'll just do it by machine. But I do want these to last because, like I said, it's more of an outfit than a costume, so I'm gonna do that step even if it adds some time. It just makes it a bit cleaner and a bit more durable. Is that really necessary on the black fabric? You already had your dirty spot, and a second dirty spot, and another dirty spot. You just want to take over the whole thing? Alright, day 3. Last night I made some great progress. I actually managed to finish the skirt. Originally I only cut out 4 panels for it. Turned out it needed, well, the directions said 8, I just did 6 because I didn't want it to be too full at the bottom. And most exciting part, pockets. So this is what it looks like so far. I haven't done the hem and the waist looks a little blah right now, but that'll be attached to the top part anyway, so it'll be fine. My goal today is to figure out how to do the top and ideally finish it, but that's probably me getting ahead of myself, but you know, girls got a dream, so I'll aim for that. But I'm super happy with how this first part turned out. Started on the top. My plan is to trace out the kind of top pattern of this 1930s pattern that I have here onto some tissue paper and then adapt it from there to then put it on the fabric. I'm still debating whether I'm going to do a mock-up or not because it's time consuming and I know it's good to do, but I don't really want to, so we'll see how this kind of step goes and go from there. I already know this top fits me, so I just need to kind of adapt the neckline to make it the kind of cat shape that it's supposed to be. Ignoring my dirty mirror, this is kind of what it looks like. I think I'm going to add a couple of darts in the front here. Oh, you can't even see them in the black fabric, but it's a little bit hard to measure on myself, seeing as I can't really reach the back, but I think it'll be okay. The front seems pretty fine, maybe a little wide. I might pin it a little bit smaller and once this is rolled up, it'll be more like the cat's ears. So it's coming along. Alright, so I sewed everything together and then realized I probably should have done the liner first, but I guess I'll just cut it out from the pattern I made and then sew it on then. It'll be fine. I struggled a bit doing the lining with the machine. I just always feel like it makes it all lumpy and I can never get it quite right, so I decided to do it by hand. Time consuming but relaxing, and I've moved to my kitchen so I have actual light and a surface to work on, but I'm just doing teeny tiny little stitches as I go all around, and it's working so much better. I just never managed to do it by machine. I don't know how. I just, for some reason, the physics of it doesn't work, so by hand it is. All right, so we're on to the next day. I ended up putting lining on the whole inside of the dress. I figured I might as well spend the extra time and do it. I'm just gonna do it by hand and basically watch Netflix as I do it. I'll try to remember to actually film most of the steps. I just think it's kind of boring to watch me sew for a while, but I guess I could show a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. But basically I'm just sewing the lining along every edge, and then the top is done after I put the sleeves together, obviously, and then I just have to attach it, which I think I'll be able to finish all today, hopefully. I've got my spooky coffee cup, so we're all set to go for today. All right, the top is done, lining is fully sewed in. Next is going to be attaching it to the skirt. I will also cut a slit in the back panel of the skirt just so that I can attach the rest of the zipper to it. So that's the next steps. Dress now. Well, everything but the hem, the color in here. Oh, it's actually okay for once. So we have a dress. Today is just to put on the decorations on the cat face as well as the hem. And you can see that my sewing space is a little bit smaller than it was. I finally got a dining room table, so moving up in the world. But I'll try to film the process of the eye decorations. I think I'm going to do them out of fabric. I think that'll be the best way to do it. Haven't quite figured out exactly how, so we'll see soon. I cut out all the pieces, I pinned them in place, and I'm just gonna hand stitch them. I guess I could do it on the machine, but it's just relaxing to do it by hand, and the fabric's a tiny bit fragile, so I don't want to mess it up. the first one is done. I just kind of want to recap the project, kind of what went right, what went wrong, what I'd like to improve on next time. I actually love the way it came out. I think it's really cute. It fits better than I thought it would, considering I didn't have a pattern and had to make it up completely. It fits pretty okay. I had to cut off a lot of extra fabric, but it worked out pretty well. It is a little bit bulky around the middle. That is something I kind of need to work on when attaching skirts and tops. And you can't really tell on camera, but I would like to finish the edges of the cat eye a little bit better. But in the end, I'm not really going to be washing it, and if I do, it will be by hand. I actually love my hair like this. I would never, ever, ever cut it because in the end, I don't really have to. I can get the same effect just by pinning it up, so might do this a little bit more often. I always worry that if I were to get short hair, I would look like a 12-year-old boy. I'm already short as is and have a brown baby face, so I'm glad it looked pretty good. So I'm excited to get started on the next one. Yeah, see you all next time. Thanks for watching and see you soon. Bye.